Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials.
Okay. Can you have religion without spirituality?
This is a good question. Me personally, I don't think you can. I think they go hand in hand.
Well, what's the difference? What is the difference between spirituality and religion? How do you see that?
I see spirituality as more of your connection to whatever it is out there.
Right.
Right? Religion is what you do to express that connectivity.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. I mean, if we sort of look at it a slightly different way, all right, if we think of spirituality as magic or chaos, complete random stuff, and religion as organization.
Okay, but then you're bringing a whole magic aspect into
Well, no,
it.
I said sort of like magic.
Okay,
not,
sort of.
Sort of. In other words, it's that random. It's that so personalized to one individual. It's hard to explain to others.
Okay, I got you.
All right, your spiritual. When we call it all spirituality, but it's your perception of it versus spirituality. To me, is a less tangible thing than religion.
Yeah. That's the reason why I said to me, religion is the way you express that. It's the rituals. It's the burning of the incense, the meditations, all that stuff. That's how you're expressing your connectivity to whatever it is you believe in.
Right. Because again, you wind up with this whole entire thing of, do you believe because you worship, or do you worship because you believe?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? I mean,
again, it's still the same. We're still in the same argument as spirituality or religion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, I think you can have a religion without spirituality.
Well, I was going to say when you put it in that context,
yeah,
I think you can.
What?
I think you can have one without the other.
Well, you can, but I think when working together, they complement each other a whole lot better.
Absolutely.
All right. So again, the idea here is to keep that balance. How do you keep that spirituality, that randomness? Are you with me? And still be able to organize to make sure everybody shows up to ritual on time.
Well, I mean that depends on whether or not you're working with a coven. If you're solitary,
well, I mean, just any religion, because again,
I know, but I'm just saying, if you're coven, being a part of a church, whatever.
When you start making committees about committees, that just sucks all the spirituality
out. If you're on
out.
your own, it's easy. I think it's easier to do because then you don't have to worry about this person and that person. You know what I mean?
When you're doing it but I think that what happens is you wind up losing the religious side of it.
Right, but that's what we're talking about. You don't have to have one to have the other.
Yes, but just like I said, I think they actually complement each other. If a religion had both spirituality and the religion together, it's a whole lot better experience for everybody.
Well, now here's the funny thing. When we're talking about that, I think based on what we've just discussed, right? You can have spirituality without religion. But you can't have religion without spirituality.
You sure about that?
I think so.
I don't know. I've gone to a lot of churches and a lot of religions, and some of them seem quite mundane. It's like all the spirituality's been sucked out. We're going to just do this over and over again. It's the same formula.
Right, and it's empty.
And
to me, that's not religion.
Well, no, it's not. But yet I see religions do it all the time, to some extent.
Yeah, but and again, my opinion, unpopular opinion, whatever you want to call it, I don't think that's religion. You can't, you can't call that religion.
People do though.
That's a cult.
Yes.
That's not a religion. That's a cult.
But again, people do this. People fall into this. People go in there.
Well, sure they do.
And again, the spirituality's been done and it's been ripped out. You have to do everything's very structured.
But again, that's not religion.
No.
That's a poor, very, very poor substitute. That's, like I said, that's a cult.
Well, I mean, you might as well just look at, think about it this way. Think of Scientology.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
As an example, what I'm talking about of a religion that has no spirituality to it.
Yeah. I mean, well, from what I know of Scientology, no, there's no spirituality there.
No, it's all biofeedbacks and all this other stuff. So, again, they exist. So you can have a religion without spirituality. I'm not saying it's good.
Okay. And, yeah. We'll beg to differ on that because, again, I cannot call that a religion.
Well, again, let's talk about, when we talk about spirituality going haywire too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it can go.
This winds up with the pagan standard time and you not having ritual until midnight for some dumb reason.
Well, and it also goes into, if you're too spiritual, then you're not grounded. You're not in this world, and your head's always in the clouds, and you're just you're Space Cadet Academy #1,
But in that, it seems like religions without spirituality, they're missing something.
Yes.
All right. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I think spirituality should be part of religions. Mm-hmm. But I think humanity keeps on doing the same thing. We like to organize ourselves.
Sometimes a little too much.
A little too much. We and that's where I see the fail in this in certain religions. Even though they're trying to keep the spirituality, but because they have committees, devout committees.
Well, and see, okay, that's one thing I like about our group, right? Everybody brings something different to the group. I bring a more emotional aspect to things.
Right.
You bring a more technical, authoritarian type, and I'm saying type of energy. It's not, you're more like the father figure. Okay?
Right.
Lady Alba, she's more like a mother figure, but
right.
she's also more like a father figure. She's a very strong woman.
Yes.
Other members of our group bring something different to the group. And I think using that, we help with that dynamic, which kind of helps keep that quote unquote chaos aspect you were talking about in place, where it's not always the same thing over and over again.
Right. But there's a little variety, different way of looking at things to make it more. I mean, how many times can you listen to the story of Noah's Ark and not go, okay, can we make this a little bit?
Right.
So I think this happens less in more pagan in covens versus in churches and other religions. We specifically sit here and tell people, okay, our women or our high priestesses handle our spiritual nature, where our guys handle our mundane or the religious aspect of religion.
Yeah.
Separating up the two jobs so we get the full force of both.
All right.
Or to some extent.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, with churches and stuff like that where you only have one pastor, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, like growing up, we had our main minister, our main pastor, we had an associate minister, and then we had deacons. At any time, the pastor, could pass off to the associate pastor and say, "Hey, you want to do the sermon this week?"
And I understand that, but I mean, they're not assigned a specific. At no point does the pastor ever look at a deacon and go, "Okay, your responsibility is the spirituality of our church." And nothing else.
No.
Where I'm sitting here saying for us pagans or for
we have that diversity.
We sit down. We tell the high priestesses,
"This is your responsibility.
This is your responsibility. This is the guy's responsibility.
Right.
It is your job to bring in that spiritual aspect into our religion.
Right.
That emotional connection that we don't have anywhere else.
Right.
By separating up them two jobs, we get more of a full force of the punch. Are you with me?
Right.
I'm sorry. I've seen Lady Alba do many rituals.
Oh yeah.
And trust me, she can. I can't explain it, but I've seen her do the same rituals over and over again, and each time
something different,
something emotional. And I'm sorry, it's what they're good at. I'm not knocking or any. Don't get me wrong. Lady Alba can run the business side quite easily.
Oh yeah, yeah. If she had to.
But I'm not sitting there saying that I haven't tripped over to the spiritual side either as a priest.
Well, no, I mean we've all had to at some point. So, but yeah, we do have that designation that other organizations, other religions don't
have. That we specifically have a person that represents just the spiritual nature of our religion.
Well, now question. All right, since paganism is not as big as some of the major religions,
right?
Is that what's holding us back?
See, I don't know.
Or is that what sets us apart, and maybe that's the reason why we are so small, comparatively speaking?
I think there's other reasons for that besides this.
Okay.
Of why in the world paganism is still so kind of small.
Okay.
I think there's other things there. To be quite honest with you, I think it's more us.
Yeah.
In general, it's the pagan community in general versus.
In other words, we're forcing it to stay in the smaller numbers.
I think a lot of people don't always. Unfortunately, you have a lot of people that will sit there and you could talk. You've done it before. We've gone to a gather. You talk to 5 different people, and you can hear them all say 5 different things, and you're so confused by the end of it. You're like, what was the point of even showing up?
Right.
You go to one class, they tell you one thing. You go to another class, they tell you something else.
So you think it's not necessarily the fact that we've divided up the responsibilities, but it's that we don't have any continuity in the quote unquote community.
I think, like certain religions done, that in paganism we've dropped the ball on the religious side of this. Everybody just wants to do just the spiritual.
Okay.
And that's what I think drives most people away. Because there are no consistencies. There's no guardrails. There's no nothing like this.
Right.
And everybody, you sit there and you listen to the podcast over and over again. Everybody seems to be flying by the seam of their pants.
Yeah, I mean, most of the ones that we see on YouTube or
the big famous ones.
Well, not even them. Just some of the the everyday regular people who are putting stuff out there. Smaller, some of the smaller podcasts, not necessarily the bigger ones, but a lot of them, you're right, they're all doing the same thing. It's kind of like fly by night and keep going. And our beliefs will change as soon as somebody comes in with a better idea, right?
Because we're always sitting here looking at the door looking for something better to come in.
Okay.
All right. And again, I'm sorry, that's not how you run a religion.
No, it's not.
There are a lot of things in this world that are good for us.
Mm-hmm.
But when you take them to extremes, they're not.
Extremes have their place. But only in small doses.
Right.
And that, again, my opinion, I think we need those extremes.
And I'm not saying we didn't need them. It's just living there is not a good thing for us.
No, it's
for
not.
any of us.
No.
All right?
Absolutely not.
And I'm sorry, this is all I see on these other in the pagan community at large is everybody is always the extreme. It's always something. And again, how are you going to follow a religion, but yet one lady sits there and tells you over and over again, oh, I can't meditate and all my karma seems to go on my daughter and not me. Really?
I mean...
Hey, everybody else in the world, karma works this way, but yet you...
that's neither here nor there because you and I don't
I'm just saying
karma,
this. I think this is part of our problem is everybody in the pagan community wants to be so special that they're driving people away.
Yeah.
All right. It's that guy that and every time you talk to him, oh, yeah, I jumped out of planes. I've done this. I've done everything that you've done. They've done better.
I actually work with a guy who's like that.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. This is what I see mainly in the pagan community. You can tell me I'm wrong.
Well, and sad part is even for those people, there's really no way to validate what they're saying. We have to take them at their word
and keep going.
But it kind of gets irritating after a while, and you're like, can we not just have a conversation?
I mean,
Why do we always have to one-up each other?
Right. I mean, when does everybody have to be Joan of Arc from a previous life?
Right.
I don't get it.
There was only one Joan of Arc.
But I think these are the things that are repelling people away from us.
It could be, yeah. It very well could be.
All right. I mean, at the end of the day, Christianity really hasn't changed that much. Everybody knows the rules.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. But in paganism, every time you turn around, they're changing something for some reason whatsoever.
Everything. Well, yeah. Well, and I think that's part of what makes it appealing to some people is that it is so flexible. But I kind of think you don't need to be so flexible when it comes to religion / spirituality. I think I'm like you need those guardrails.
You need a balance between the two.
Right. You need a track that you can follow, if you will, like a train.
Or, I mean, not even, I would even go as far as just a Vegas path in the woods.
Okay.
I mean, if we could at least get that far. But right now, it's not even a path in the freaking woods. It's just a Vegas path in the woods. It's just everybody going off in 50,000 directions all at one time.
Right. It's kind of like coming across an area that looks like it's been trodden.
Right.
But you can't really tell.
We've all seen those dirt roads that have been grown up. Nobody's been down them, and you can barely see them anyway. I like paganism to at least have one of those.
Okay.
More than what we have now.
Good luck with that.
Herding cats, I know.
I know. I mean, it would be nice, though. It would be nice. I don't think I'm like you. Well, maybe I'm not like you. Because I think it needs to be a little more structured than that.
Right.
I really do.
I mean, I think there needs to be more structure there and an actual.
And let's face it, most of the people who come to us, they're looking for structure.
Yes.
They've seen what's out there, and they're like, it's too much chaos. It's just, I need something that I can forge a path into.
Right. I need somewhere where I have at least some stepping stones to get where I want to go.
Right.
So
how can we? Okay, so then how can we?
What do you hear in the pagan community when you hear people pop up like that? Oh, God forbid! No! How dare you? How dare you?
Well, that's what I was going to say. How can we translate that into something more for the general public, more for the solitaries, more for the folks who don't want to be part of a coven?
Right. I mean, I'm sorry, but they have to make their own decisions then.
So
I'm sorry. Right. I mean,
so there's really no way to make any structure for
them. No. I mean, if they're refusing, I'm sorry. If you refuse to take up the religious side of this, that's your problem, not mine. I can't make you.
No, but I do. I mean, I know some solitaries, and they balance it quite well for themselves. But when it comes to other people, it's almost like they can't translate that into something they can pass on.
You got to remember, not everyone is self-motivated. Not everyone can self-guide or self-teach. I mean, there are people in the world that require a classroom.
That's very true, yeah.
All right? I mean, they can't do self-study. So, yeah, those people need the organization. Now, for those solitaires and stuff, the only thing I'd sort of have to ask them is, are you sure you're getting everything you need? You think you are, you're acting like you are and all this other, but is it really?
Well,
is there another level there that you could reach if you actually took on a teacher and learned some things?
I was going to say, and that's not to say that you're going to get everything you need from a teacher or from a classroom or from, being in a class with other students. You're still going to have to do some stuff on your own.
Yes.
But I think you've got those building blocks that kind of help.
Well, I think it helps when you have a priest that you're seeing, like either every full moon or something, that's looking at you. Oh, how's your meditations going?
Right.
Oh, well,
Well, and even then, it's not a pushy thing. It's not like, have you done your meditations lately?
No, it's more like,
how's it going?
How's it going? How's your meditations going?
Well, and we've had some people come up, I've hit this hurdle. Okay. What can I do to help you get past the hurdle?
Right.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. But yet, I've seen a lot of people that gotten to the point in the paganism to where even if you talk to them about teachers, they're ready to set their hair on fire.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, that don't help. And just because you can't do something and you go to a teacher to try to help you figure it out, doesn't mean it's a bad thing on you.
So basically what it boils down to is we can't structureize, if that's even a word. If it's not, I just made it up. Hey. We can't put things into a structure for something that doesn't exist.
Right.
And for certain people that just doesn't exist.
Right.
So we can't do that. Basically what we can do is we can just talk to them.
Right.
And kind of help them along if they want it. Now, if they don't, fine, we'll just sit and we'll talk about whatever. We'll bullshit. I don't care.
Again, it's a difficult conversation because everybody wants a spirituality. I understand the drive for it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just at some point you got to put a little organization in there.
Well, see, okay, as far as that goes, and I guess for me it's been a little different because spirituality came easy to me. I always had a connection to spirit.
Right.
Whatever you want to call it. I always had a connection to it. And it's always been phenomenal for me. What helped me balance that in my daily life was religion. It gave me a structure.
By sitting there telling you, hey, you can't just sit here all day.
Right.
In the spiritual bliss.
Right. But it gave me stuff that I could do to express like I said earlier, to express my connectivity.
Right.
To spirit. And I find comfort in that. Me personally, I find comfort in it. I find it very beautiful. I find it relaxing in some ways. Where I don't have to, it's like I don't have to do a whole lot of anything really.
Right.
But I've got something that I can physically do to express how I feel.
Right.
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
All right. So, roughly saying, we've come to the conclusion, you can have spirituality without religion, and you can have religion without spirituality, but we still think our best bet is to have both.
Yeah.
If at all possible.
Yeah, I think the balance
there is a whole lot more important. I think both aspects are important for humanity and our religious and spiritual growth.
And it's going to be like a seesaw. It's not going to be 50-50 all the time.
No, we understand. You can move that pivot point around anywhere you want to along that line.
That's where, as you put it, the chaos comes in.
Right.
That's keeping things interesting. That's,
a little bit more.
It's going to teeter one way or the other.
And sometimes it's going to take over. Sometimes it's not. Yep. Sometimes it's, sometimes everything does just seem very mechanical. But then the next time you go around, the tables turn slightly and you're just completely in spirituality.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been in a lot of rituals where that just suddenly seemed to have happened.
My last ritual, actually, I don't feel like I was completely there. So, it was quite interesting.
It was, wasn't it?
It happens.
It does.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Anything else?
Coffee.
Let's go get coffee.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning.